Great stuff. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for this exciting topic. We're looking ahead to 2025. It's only a few weeks away now, so we thought we would schedule this session to talk about how you can enhance your enhance your innovation process with AI in the year ahead. And we have some great speakers with us. So from our partner at RevelX, we have Mathijs Rossman. I'm still trying to get my tongue around the name. And from our side, we have Yoel Nesher, our product expert. So should be a familiar face to some of you. This is the agenda for today's session. So we're going to start off with something a bit different. We're going to have a bit of an open discussion with our speakers around this this hot topic of AI in the innovation process, just to explore the concepts and make sure we're all on the same page with our definitions. Then we'll hand over to Mathijs for his portion, his keynote for today, with some best practices on AI in the wider innovation process before Yoel dives into AI in the innovation management software context. So looking at our capabilities in the Qmarkets tool and how they can transform your innovation process in 2025. And of course, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So be sure to add any questions you've got in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to address those. So I think we'll start by just sharing an overview of Qmarkets. For those of you who aren't familiar, we've been around for a long time now. We're one of the leading providers of idea and innovation management software. And as you know, innovation is complicated. There's lots of stakeholders that you need to connect with, lots of minds that you need to avoid, lots of data points that you need to pull into your innovation process. And that's not easy. So we've built our offering, our tool around that challenge over the last 16 years, gradually adding additional products and use cases based on the market need, based on the challenges that our customers are facing. So we've helped large organizations to deliver some amazing results. And now in the last year, we've been launching these amazing Gen AI features to even enhance that impact even more. So excited to share more with you. I think this is also a useful overview for anyone who's not familiar with what we offer and where we kind of sit on the innovation ecosystem as a whole. So this is a visualization of what your innovation process, your company-wide innovation process, innovation ecosystem should look like. So you see here in the middle, we have your organization. And around that, you have your challenges, opportunities, and also needs. You need to look at the pain points within your company and see how you address those. That's the starting point for any innovation program, is understanding these key points. Then you have your internal stakeholders within your company. So that can be your employees, it can be your C-suite, blue collar, white collar, anyone with some knowledge to share. You want to make sure they're part of your innovation ecosystem. You have the outside world. So there's obviously customers is a big one, but there's also the supply chain. There's also academia and research and startups that you need to involve, that you need to be leveraging as part of your ecosystem, and different data points. So whether it's patents or trends or technologies, these are all things that can have a huge impact on your innovations and can be hugely disruptive. So you need to make sure these are all incorporated as well. This is where we come in. This is each of these represents one of our products, one of our main use cases. So idea management is the core for most of our customers. But we also offer solutions around technology scouting, trends, operational efficiency through continuous improvement, and also at the very back end, you need to be implementing these solutions and making sure they get adopted across your company. So we have a dedicated tool on the portfolio management side of things as well. I won't go into too much detail. You don't want a full product demo today. But these are the outcomes that everybody wants to deliver from their innovation ecosystem. And whether it's products or business models or innovation culture, it all comes down to bottom line value for your company. So this is, I think, a good starting point for the conversation. And of course, we want to look at how AI can impact this whole process, this whole ecosystem, and that's what our speakers will focus on today. So I think, yeah, we can go ahead and dive right into this conversation. So Mathijs, Yoel, thanks again for being here with us today. We have a few questions here, and I think we'll start off with something a bit more fun, a bit more engaging for the audience. So please feel free to share any of your own suggestions. So I think we want to see how you guys are using AI maybe in your personal lives. So for example, I've been using it to just feed in ingredients that I've got in the fridge and seeing what recipes AI comes up with when I'm looking for inspiration and struggling after a long day. So that's something I've really appreciated. But what are some cool novel use cases that you both are enjoying right now?
I'm not sure it's very novel, but I'm using it definitely to plan trips, family activities, party games for the youth program, and these kind of things. Yeah.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, no, catching on to the youth program, I just have my oldest son just got into high school, and obviously with all of these new subjects that he has to study, which I've studied a long time ago, I use AI to help him to generate quiz questions to help him prepare for his exams, and but I also have a side hustle of selling wines, and I actually built my own GPT to help me sort of select the best wines for a dish, at a restaurant or for example, or at home, which obviously makes me look very knowledgeable, smart. So I'm using AI to enhance that somewhat, I would say.
Great stuff. So, yeah, not familiar with either of those use cases myself, but I'm
I'll share them with you, no problem.
nice. Yeah. I'm sure I can always do with looking more smart, especially in the wine department. So yeah, if anyone else has any, please do share those. But now moving into the topic of today's session. So we're of course focusing on AI in the innovation process. So rather than talking about how AI can be implemented across your products and services, we're really zooming in on AI in the innovation management process. So yeah, to start off with, how mature are organizations in your experience when it comes to this? Is there a lot of room for improvement still, or are you seeing a lot of growth in the last year? It would be great to get both of your inputs.
Yeah. So we're as a consulting firm, we are sort of focusing on innovation as a driver for future growth, and this is over the past years has been a growing field for us. And to be honest, if you look at the work that we do with our organization or with our clients, is that a starting point today as it stands usually is still the very definition of what innovation means for them as an organization, and how they can build effective process and governance around it. And I see AI being, I would say, in quite a rudimentary phase, I would say, for a lot of organizations, specifically in this phase, and also a bit of apprehension, which I'll talk about in my presentation as well. Mainly driven by the fact that people are unaware or they actually fear the use of AI. So I would say that for us, there's a lot of missionary work still to be done. But curious from you, Yoel, to hear what your experience is.
Yeah. So basically, it's mainly how IT and security departments hold that back, unfortunately. Of course, legal restrictions in different countries as well.
So that was actually my second question is what are the biggest barriers to adoption that you guys are seeing right now? Is it to do with seeing the value? Is it well, like you said, security is a big one, but is there a limitation on culture or the actual offerings from a technology perspective?
Yeah, so everywhere, but specifically within innovation management, of course, challenge number one is data security because of the IP and so on. Most have no compliance or guidelines in place. But a cool trend that we're seeing is that companies establish these sandbox environments for specific teams, typically innovation teams, to use and check out different tools and actually already get value out of those.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think in some ways it sort of reminds me of the early days of using social media for business. There was just very few guidelines and guardrails on how to use it, and a lot of frustration, to be honest, with team members who can use AI tools in their personal lives. If we just discussed it, in your introduction question, Elliot. And then, on the other hand, when they come to their work and they want to make their work more efficient and basically rethink the way that they do stuff, they're just prohibited by their IT departments or sometimes even senior management. No, on the other hand, also see some enterprising managers and C-suite dwellers who are using AI in their organizations and actually see sizable benefits. So hopefully we're going to see more of those examples, as time moves on. But I think everybody needs to be quick with this.
Yeah, yeah. Like you mentioned in our chat just before this about the whole shiny object syndrome. It's definitely present here. But are you starting to see that wear off? Are there any trends in the last 12 months that you can share with our audience before we dive in?
Yeah, I would say corporates, they are still very slow. We are mainly working with bigger global corporate clients. And it's very hard, especially for innovation teams. They are pretty frustrated on that part. So the hype kind of calmed down. I just saw a post yesterday. It's already 4 years since ChatGPT went into beta. And like it's really time is running out. On the other hand, of course, it's a huge opportunity for whoever is already on there really actively and has already taken these first steps into augmenting their innovation management process.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, Elliot, I think the sort of shiny object syndrome of generative AI has been around for some time, and I've seen the last 2 years, and ever since we were first introduced to ChatGPT, and I feel that it is wearing off somewhat. And but so I think the real value for AI in organizations doesn't necessarily start with generative AI. I think it's also about the effective application of machine learning or just maybe simple AI in labeling tools in their core business. Let's say over an obsession of the promise of generative. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity also in basic AI applications, but that also means that as Joe was alluding to, it requires a bit of a step up from IT and IT policy, but also data governance from that perspective. So
Yeah.
Again, a lot of basics to be covered.
Great stuff. And just one more question before we open up a poll to the audience. So, can either of you share any nice examples of how AI is used in a really effective way in the innovation process right now? Maybe from clients at either Qmarkets or RevelX?
Let Yoel, maybe you can answer that first, because maybe then I can sort of dive into my presentation straight away.
Yeah. So first of all, definitely idea submission, reducing the barrier for employees to submit their ideas, which they often struggle and just have this mind blocker. And when they see it's much simpler to do that, we have a real boost there. And then, of course, the assistance for power users, right? Mentors, coaches, experts. We have just much faster throughput times of the idea from idea through approval, and then, of course, through implementation, also in the prototyping phase.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Looking good. Okay.
With you.
So yeah, so thank you, Yoel. Thank you, Elliot, for giving me the floor today to talk about defining an AI enhanced innovation process for 2025. So this is the time for New Year's resolutions, right? So we're all sort of gearing up for what's to come in the next year. And I already alluded to AI in the way that we look at it. Obviously, looking at AI as computer systems, replicating or performing human-like tasks. This is interesting, especially in innovation. We're seeing more and more people use or wanting to use AI in their creative process and validation efforts. And if you look at AI and specifically at generative AI, and I just talked about the shiny object syndrome. We've seen then AI is really taking a leap in the way that we work. I think it's obviously AI has been around for a long time, but it's really come to the surface with the advent of ChatGPT, and I think the adoption of AI is astounding in its use in many business functions, but functions is becoming more and more prevalent. And you see here the exponential adoption of AI usage over other digital applications, which I think is really remarkable. It also, when you talk about AI in business processes and organizations, there's also often this discussion about to what extent does AI take over the jobs of people within organizations. And I thought this sort of quote by Sebastian Thrun, who's a computer scientist and entrepreneur, and he actually is a pioneer behind self-driving car technology, in which he said AI won't be good at replacing humans, but humans will be good at replacing themselves using AI, which I think is very interesting and sort of dives into the context of discussing how AI will augment, enable humans to do their jobs better and more effectively, rather than sort of directly replacing them as human workers. But I think the core of the idea is that AI is a tool or a core technology that is basically created and controlled by humans. So while AI may take some jobs, it's ultimately the choice and actions, I think, of us humans leveraging AI capabilities that will show how work and employment will evolve, and not per se how the AI systems will autonomously take over our jobs. So I think what we're seeing, and also I think which sort of shines through the comments in this webinar, but also the way that people respond to the polls, is that AI can be anyone's co-pilot today. And I personally dedicate 1 hour per day learning about the power of AI, and obviously means using new AI tools and experimenting with tools, reading, listening to podcasts. And I really strongly feel, and I also implore this on the people in this attending this webinar, is to take this opportunity to really learn about this new core technology, which I think I'm actually not really think I'm convinced that this is going to be the key for the rest of our working lives. But AI can be anyone's co-pilot today. It's definitely true. I also just talked about what's the value of AI for businesses, and I think on the short term there's still a lot of value in what I coined as being sort of a simple AI or basic AI. If you look at it from a perspective of supervised learning, for example, just labeling things as the basic machine learning technology out there. And generative AI, I think, in core processes still has some ways to go. But if you're revisiting your business processes or processes in general, don't only look at generative AI, but also look at what power still lies in AI technologies such as machine learning. I think, well, if we dive into the topic of generative AI, this is really where I think there's a lot. There's some call it the fifth industrial revolution, and allowing us to rethink and redesign the system of work as it stands, as we're moving from, let's say, mechanical and computational efficiency to cognitive efficiency. And I think that also when I just responded to the poll and Elliot's request, is that cognitive efficiency really is where how can we sort of supercharge our brains? How can we supercharge these scarce resources that we have in our organizations, and are basically driving the value of our businesses. I think the invitation here really is to think about or use AI as a power to really realize breakthroughs in what we think is possible. In a sense, AI gains, obviously, I think a lot of organizations are looking at AI to drive efficiency, streamline processes, and cutting costs and optimizing resource allocation. But over time, as you'll see, you'll get more proficient in using AI. You also see qualitative gains in sort of creating better outputs at scale, and especially at improved speeds, up to really transforming the way you do business. So reimagining and redesigning process and systems. So I think that really is sort of the value ladder of AI as it stands within organizations and what can be achieved. But anyway, so the topic of today was really to build an AI enhanced innovation process, and how you can use AI to do that, and basically going through the steps of being more efficient at it, but also generating better results and really transforming your innovation process. And maybe as a primer, just to get everybody on the same page on what we're talking about. The way we look at an innovation process from a business perspective is basically a methodical process that leads you from strategy to implemented innovation ideas. And the way that we design the process for many organizations is just going through 4 major steps, which is strategizing or contextualizing the innovation challenge. To go on to ideation, so exploring strategic innovation themes and discovering innovation opportunities, and the next phase being validation externally, and have we built or have we defined anything that customers actually want, to internal validation, can we build those propositions, and then in the final phase, can we scale up those initiatives as we're building them and putting them out there in the market. Innovation is and should be a structured process that's driving value creation for the future in the organization. And what we're seeing is that a lot of the requests that we get from our clients is to really help them build this process through a series of steps, just to increase the performance of their innovation process. Because what we see in practice is that the innovation process as a business process faces a lot of issues, and we're running an innovation readiness benchmark, which you can freely access on our website revelx.co. And the results of those are that we see is there's a long time to market, low to no return on investment, organizations facing siloed organizations, no consistency in the way that they run their innovation process, very little knowledge capture, so everybody's doing the same thing in different parts of the organization from their own individual islands. There's a lot of short-term focus, subjective decision making, and in the end, there's a lot of discouraged innovators within organizations. And I think a lot of these issues can be overcome with the help of AI. And I think specifically the tools that you at Qmarkets are offering the business nowadays. So what are some of the things that I think we can solve? Obviously, we can be more efficient and productive. Enhanced business insights, I think, is that really is a strong suit of Qmarkets. But also drive customer-centric innovation. So be much more focused on the problems we're solving, running iterative testing, increasing creativity, but also driving data-driven decision making. So in effect, making it more efficient, more productive, more creative, and in the end, faster. So I think that's the promise that AI can bring to the innovation process. And to drive that home a little bit more, we actually recreated the process for one of our clients. And you were asking for, can you give us examples of how AI can be used in the innovation process? And we recreated the process of a case we've done for Philips, the consumer electronics company. And we worked with Philips on building propositions for the sports headphones segment. This is, it's a red ocean of electronic devices. It's an extremely competitive market. It's driven by strong consumer desires for advanced and innovative technologies, and we basically focused our efforts on sort of building propositions for everyday athletes and runners in their market. And we looked at, how can we use AI as a co-pilot in this process, and how can we kickstart the creative process better? How can we roughly validate early ideas, and how can we use AI for early testing, and basically improve the innovation process for a company like Philips as a whole. And I think it's only fair to point out that when we got engaged with Philips on this topic, this was before all of the generative AI applications surfaced. So we ran this process. I would say let's put it in an analog way, but then we recreated it using AI tools. So that's what I quickly want to show you, just to inspire you, and how you can use AI tools within your innovation process for as a New Year's resolution. Just let me just put it that way. So quickly taking you through all of those process steps in the innovation process, as I just discussed. When we're strategizing, obviously the most important job to be done is to define really the strategic context of the organization, and the opportunity space that we're targeting, to really define what are the relevant innovation themes. We're looking for, what are the key trends? How can what could be developing future scenarios, both from a user perspective as well as from a technology perspective. We have to collect, market data, but also identify key players. So, as I just explained, sports headphones being a red ocean of solutions out there from reputable companies who aren't willing to give up their market share easily. It's obviously our business to do this for our clients, but I've just listed on the right side a couple of AI tools which are openly available to anyone to start spotting trends, developing scenarios. And I think here this is really where Qtrend, one of the Qmarkets solutions, really shines, where you can basically look at the market from a trend perspective, create your own trend radar, see what kind of technologies are out there, what kind of companies are out there, and even if they're sort of linked to startup databases, for example, you can easily see. So what are the areas in which there's let's say early development in terms of where investments take place, from venture capitalists to research grants to even established companies that have solutions in different areas. So this, I think, and this we can do on a continuous basis, where you can basically continually feed the process of strategizing. So that is one part we've done with for Philips. And then obviously moving into the second phase of ideation, where you really have to explore the strategic innovation theme and uncover the innovation opportunities. There's a lot of stuff that can be done there using AI tools as well. And I think we all know, the power of ChatGPT to assist you in brainstorming, and also do creative and lateral thinking. Really challenge ChatGPT to think with you on, okay, so this is an area of innovation which I'm thinking about. Ask me 10 challenging questions to come up with new solutions. But one area which I think is really interesting is to gather market insights really quickly, and there's this proposition out there which is called Dovetail, which you can use for just to get a lot of insights from the market, from customer interviews, from basically usability tests, and really sort of summarizes that in really powerful insights, which it typically is the work that market research companies do. And for Philips, we've done the same thing. When we were actually working on this project, we probably spent about 3 months on doing market research with market research agencies, which in the end was very valuable. But recreating that in Dovetail is basically reduced that period from months to mere days, and maybe even hours if we were really putting the pedal to the metal. And also here, Qmarkets is a very powerful suite in engaging the wider audience, the larger, actually the entire organization, but also opening the floor for organizations outside of the corporate realm to basically share their ideas for ideation as well, which is again something that obviously you should do as an innovator, but it just takes up a lot of time if you do it without proper tooling, and but also clustering the ideas that come in. I think one of the nicer things that I wanted to show you today is you can. I'm sure that a lot of you are aware of persona development. So for Philips, we used Synapse, which is an AI tool, and we basically asked Synapse to create user personas for a runner or a daily athlete using sports headphones during running exercises. And it's just, it's really interesting to see how quickly you can get to personas, which, the personas that Philips had at the time are very much resembling this, the personas that came out of AI. And we haven't done a lot of tweaking, but it's just great to see that you can do this. Obviously, they're rough personas, so they need to be fine-tuned. But as a starting point, just doing it in just a couple of mouse clicks, I think is very interesting. And then obviously, if you can then add the power of a generative AI and creating images around those personas, that further sort of improves the effectiveness. These personas you can then actually have a conversation with using ChatGPT or apps like synthetic personas to really test your ideas and try to see whether you're on the right path. Again, I would say it's not completely replacing the work that market research companies are doing, because I think what they do is they typically tend to pick up a lot more, let's say, emotions and sentiment, which are a bit more below the surface. But again, as a starting point, just to get you going, I think this is a really powerful way of supercharging your innovation process. And I'm sure this question comes up every time. Can I do this in a B2B environment as well? Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you just build your B2B personas, you can do the same thing. Then moving into the sort of the next step of innovation, it's in the validation process. Obviously, visualization is a key feature of generative AI, and just testing how stuff looks and putting it in front of customers very quickly through mockups or visualizations is something that's very powerful. And obviously, you can think this image has been generated based on the personas, and I think we can all quickly agree that this is not a very appealing product. But there might be some interesting elements to this product that could be further explored. But I cannot see myself running across the street with a device like this, not without risking being sort of locked up in a mental institution, I guess. But anyway, it's just the power of visualization that really that is really at play here. Then for scale up, AI can really help you also build business plans, and we ran a business plan exercise with Agent GPT, which basically is as an agentic AI solution, which will sort of keep working on or giving itself, let's say, new assignments of thinking about, okay, so what would be a good, innovation or a business plan for a proposition like this. I think that is really powerful, because it really it goes beyond what people would probably look for in a business plan, and also consider much more different options than we would do. And I think that's also when I talked about sort of enhanced creativity in the innovation process. I think we're at a point where AI is, let's say, if you take an averagely creative person, AI can actually match, the skills of an average person. But where AI really shines is just to do it at scale, do it at speed. But AI is not a match for some really creative people, I would say. So if you're more than averagely creative, then don't fear AI, but use it as a fire start. Just being conscious of time, and I know that Yoel also wants to share some interesting features of the Qmarkets Qmarkets suite. I want to leave you with so how can you become, let's say, an AI first organization, specifically when it comes to innovation. I think it's really important to embed AI in your purpose and vision, and adopt, sort of, let's say, an AI everywhere premise. So put it into, anywhere where you can use AI, and also be very vocal about the use of AI, just to inspire people, share use cases, engage third-party experts to get new insights in. But just make sure that you, as I just explained, from my personal perspective, educate yourself, educate your organization, but also inspire your team using AI, and to make sure that everybody understands the power of it beyond just doing your Christmas party speeches and what have you. So what I really want to implore is really to start reimagining the innovation process with AI, and I think it's our job as innovators to do it. So I think with that, I want to hand it back to you, Elliot, unless there are any questions that you want me to dive into now. But
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mathijs. That's really fascinating stuff. We got a couple of requests for the slides, so we'll be sure to share that with everyone afterwards. We did have a second poll plan, but I think in the interest of time, we can skip that and save more time for the questions at the end. So Yoel, I think we can go straight into your section and cover some of the Qmarkets capabilities that can impact the innovation process in 2025. You're just on mute.
Can you see the right screen already?
Yeah, we're looking at the title, the divider.
Okay, so yeah, let's skip the poll then. Thanks, Mathijs. That was really cool stuff there. So Qmarkets, we have been on the forefront of ML and AI for many years, and we would like to start exploring right now how Qmarkets integrates AI into the innovation process, really within the platform, within a tool. And we will highlight our current features, first of all, the ones we recently developed, and then going into what's coming in 25. So our goal here is to demonstrate how AI supports our clients and their teams in streamlining these innovation workflows then. Yeah, let's skip the poll then. So first off, our platform provides access to an AI-enhanced startup database with over 500K companies worldwide. And it enables users to scout startups efficiently through simple searching and comparison. Like you can see here in that screenshot. So the database, what's special is it's AI enriched with insights, for example, including technology startups, the technologies they actually produce, and clients they serve. So these are unique. This is unique information that is not shared anywhere else. And with daily automated updates and advanced web crawling from trusted sources like Crunchbase, and of course the actual websites of these startups, the system really ensures that there's up-to-date, reliable data. And of course, there's also a comparison option built into it, so you can easily compare specific startups together. So based on that, Mathijs, what specific details do you usually prioritize when scouting startups?
Yeah, so what we're looking for specifically when we're looking for, let's say, new technology areas for clients to dive into. What's really interesting is to see, where is the investment appetite from going to. So we work together on technology innovation for KLM Airlines. They have a number of business challenges that they're looking to solve using technology, and just to get a feel for the richness of the technology innovation field. It's good to see where investment frenzy is going, or investment trends are going, just to pick out what will be the solutions for the future. And it's also just interesting to see where, in what geography across the world those startups are actually based, just to see where things are actually happening at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, actually, we also have the world map option, so you can either filter, of course, but also specifically on the world map, use and choose your region that you're interested in and zoom in. Okay, so the innovation processes that we have different modules, different products, like for tech scouting, ideation, strategic foresight, impact tracking, and needs prioritization, and so on. And AI is basically built seamlessly and integrated across these modules, right, to ensure that every aspect of the process is optimized and efficient. But for now, let's focus on our core product, Q-Ideate. Some of the things we will touch, of course, are very relevant also to the other ones. And AI plays a critical role across this workflow and all involved stakeholders. We take these icons here of the process and we'll put them on the different features so you can kind of map them. But eventually it is for moderators, innovation managers, mentors, employees, startups submitting their profiles, and so on. All of those benefit from it all through the process. So first off, we have our writing assistant. It's probably the most common one that most of you are familiar with in your daily work today, and tools that you use today. And this one, it really empowers users to create and enhance their ideas and general their content effortlessly and very specific needs. So everything is context driven. So we take information from the actual challenge. We take information from your company, from your methodologies and framework that you have today, and build this all into the tool to make sure that the outputs are as relevant and as qualitative as possible.
Yeah, Joe, maybe if I can chime in on this one. Yeah. So what we're already seeing the power of this. For example, with the Dutch police force. It's sometimes the decision-making process on innovation is very subjective, in that people with the best way of presenting their idea or vocalizing their idea gets picked over other ones. So I think this is a great way of sort of democratizing the innovation process and sort of taking away that barrier for people to really clearly describe, what their innovation idea is, and also how to bring that across. So I think this is, although it might seem simple, I think it's going to make a really big impact in the ideation phase and capturing innovation ideas from a larger organization.
Yeah, so we really can see the scaling and speeding up. The amount of contributors and engagement is very nice that it serves here. Also, the image generation tool, similarly, is something that is probably very close, like very makes sense to have that. And again, it uses the relevant context of the whole platform and everything behind the idea, the challenge it is in, and even can be customized to have, for example, the specific colors and so on. So exactly that example that you had mentioned, Mathijs, of the Philips headphones, right? The product designs is a very typical use case, and it can be built really seamlessly right in that workflow of ideation here, and eventually also the prototyping phase of things. This is my personal favorite, the intelligent strategic analysis tool. This is incredibly powerful, mainly during the evaluation phase of the process, but again, also of course, in screening phases, controlling commercialization stages, and it really incorporates strategic insights, methodologies. For example, RevelX has built their own tools here. So whenever an idea or a project reaches a certain stage, there is relevant insights that are already created automatically. So executive summaries is one thing, but it can be automatically tagged. It can be, it can run certain methodologies, of course, SWOT analysis, feasibility assessments, risk analysis, blue ocean strategy, feedback. So Mathijs, what kind of example do you have for
I think I think I was going to say, I think it might be better if we can quickly go through the remaining few slides and then jump straight into the Q&A, just to make sure we have a chance to address those questions before anyone has to leave.
Okay. Okay, so we will quickly go on, on the coming soon, what's to come, what we are building on right now. First of all, the bulk idea generator that will create content from scratch, basically based on the challenge inputs or the actual need, but also, for example, trends and so on. Then tools around evaluation and decision making, automated scorecard sessions or assisted scorecard sessions, sentiment analysis. And eventually the most wanted one is the innovation copilot that would have chat search, on-demand graphs, reporting, automated notifications, bottlenecks, and so on. And it covers, of course, the full ecosystem of all the modules and the contents that you are having within Qmarkets.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot, Yoel. Obviously, there's a lot of information there, and it's difficult to give you the full context and make sure you understand all the details on this kind of session. But we're more than happy to have a separate call and give you a full demo of our existing capabilities and the preview of the new ones to come. So if you are interested, please reach out, and we'll be happy to handle that offline. So yeah, thanks again, Yoel and Mathijs. For now, let's dive into a few questions before we run out of time. So the first one I have here is that organizations need to start with figuring out how to incentivize discouraged innovators and convert them to encouraged and engaged innovators. the AI tools will then come pretty handy. So it's actually not so much of a question, but it's an interesting insight for everyone to be aware of. Any quick comments on that one?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting comment, and indeed it's true. Those discouraged innovators, you will find them everywhere. But I think what I would say about this innovation really is it's a top-down priority, and a lot of discouragement comes from the fact that the C-suite or leadership is not behind innovation. So even before thinking about diving into AI tools for innovation, make sure that you have your strategy straight and have your leadership behind it. And that's that I would say that's part of the basis.
Yeah, yeah, we've got plenty of best practices on that topic, right, Yoel, on making sure everybody feels valued and not discouraging anyone because it's a delicate thing. Sharing your ideas, it's easy for people to become discouraged, so that's an important one to be aware of. Another one is another question, sorry, is how can AI be applied in visualizing intangible products, i.e., services, financial products, etc.? It's quite another interesting one. I'm not sure I have a good answer for that. Any thoughts from either of you?
Yeah, I do, but maybe Yoel, you wanna respond to this?
I did not really acoustically understand. Can you repeat on the question?
It's on how AI can help visualize intangible products. So I guess maybe the answer would be finding the right prompts. So finding a theme or a way of converting something from the intangible into a visual. So I don't know if that's something we've encountered so far, but it's definitely very relevant when
Yeah.
some ideas can be intangible.
What we're doing, especially when it comes to intangible services, well, it comes to services, for example, is we'll just piggyback on the old explainer video. So and those are very easy to make using AI tools currently. So rather than in the case of Philips, create a visual of a physical product, is created a video of how such a service would work and develop the maybe the mock-ups if there's some physical element to it. But I think it's just incredible what you can do with just simple as you say simple prompts and the simple visualization technologies.
Great. Yeah, I think we can explore video generated AI AI generated video in our products soon. That's an exciting one. Another one is how do we manage bias in AI to help us generate the insights we really need to develop the solution, which I think is partly addressed by your comments on the AI writing tool. That's a big one for addressing bias, which can come from the way an idea is presented. But I guess there's other kinds of bias in the process that the AI can help with as well.
Yeah, I think also when maybe the person who asked the question is also aware of so the fact that AI as LLMs are trained are biased by themselves. So obviously one way of overcoming this problem is to build your own LLMs or have your own training data, obviously, which using if I think the majority of the world is on Azure, specifically in the corporate realm, and it's actually quite easy if you have Azure AI Studio to build your own LLMs and train your own LLMs to overcome bias issues. But I think the first step is just to be aware that bias is there, and then you have to make sure that you test for that. But then very quickly building your own data or using your own data sets and building your own fine-tuned models is a next step.
Good stuff. And we have just hit the hour mark already, so I know that people have busy schedules around this time of year and might be jumping off to other important calls. So I think we'll wrap it up there and we'll address a couple of the other questions via email. But like I said in the chat, we'll be sharing the recording and the slides from today's webinar. So keep an eye out for that, and please be in touch with any additional questions or feedback. We'd love to keep the conversation going, and we'd love to see you all on another future webinar. So thanks so much again to our speakers and to our audience. Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy your time off with friends and family, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year. I'm a bit early, but enjoy the holidays.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.